Senior Report thanks Edmund Besch of Bristol Burgess Insurance Agency, 65 East Main Street, Westfield, for his generous grant to provide news to seniors. Funding is provided by a grant from New York State Senator Catherine M. Young, representing Western New York's 57th District with a local office in Olean. Funding is provided by a grant from Absolute Care of Westfield, committed to returning the favor to those who spent a lifetime caring for others. Absolute Care is located at 26 Cass Street in Westfield. Dave Cass and Rick Newell provide funding on behalf of the Lakeview Hotel and Restaurant at the Docks, located on Water Street near the lake in Mayville. Senior Report with Reed Powers thanks Westfield's Schultz Chevy for a generous grant to inform seniors of important news. Over 50 years of service to Westfield by Chevrolet, Schultz Chevy across from the school. The physicians of Jamestown Primary Care are happy to sponsor the Senior Report. From the Access Channel 5 television studio in Mayville, it's Senior Report with Reed Powers. Senior Report is broadcast live throughout northern Chautauqua County on Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. each week. Call in and share a thought, make a comment, ask a question, or simply wish someone a happy birthday on Chautauqua County's only live call-in senior program. Since 1995, Reed has been bringing viewers hundreds of interesting guests, informing the community on a variety of subjects. Here's the host of the show, Reed Powers.
And good morning. I love that illustrious introduction. What a day it is here in Chautauqua County. Sun is beaming down. It's beautiful, although it's 55 out. Nice crispy day, isn't it? But it'll warm up, and it's going to be a glorious day. And I just say it's a great place to live. Fishing is terrific. They're catching walleyes out in the lake like crazy, and perch, and silver bass, of course, and plenty of the black bass. It's just a wonderful, wonderful year. I want to thank all the people that wrote in and congratulated us on our last program. We had Tom Reed on, and thank you very much for your comments, and we'll have him on again. He says he'll be right back. So today we have an illustrious guest. Lori Cornell is going to join us. She is the minority leader over in the that lovely place called the Chautauqua County Legislature. we have our problems up here too. So at any rate, we'll be talking to her in a short while. And anybody who wants to call in, this is your magic carpet into the universe. Just call in to 753-JACK, like jack your phone in, 753-JACK, or 753-5225, as it says on your screen. Anybody who calls in will receive $5 off. Twice today, you're going to get $10 off for 2 different meals at the illustrious restaurant at the foot of the hill, the Lakeview, which is also a fish restaurant next door. It has twin restaurants there, and it's terrific down there. Give it a try. They have a fish fry that'll kill you. It flops off all over your table. It's reasonable, and it gives you so much fish you don't know what to do with it all. Meantime, guys, I look at the news on TV and shout at the TV as usual, and we see Romney and of course his new buddy Ryan, and they are vice president. I shouldn't say his new buddy. They've been together a long time, old friends. But Romney and Ryan are going after Obama because Obama hasn't done anything and he hasn't changed the economy and there's still unemployment. And he goes back at them saying, you guys are trying to destroy Social Security and Medicare, especially Medicare, the senior program. And of course, all these people will come back and say, oh, no, no, what we're doing is improving it. They slashed $2 trillion out of it in the last couple of years coming up, and it's improving it, making it better for seniors. God help us. Well, it is in a situation where they've got to take out some of the silliness, because like 90-year-olds getting heart transplants, but I don't think that happens very often, believe me. Chautauqua County, I hope Lori gives us a little insight on Chautauqua County. She'll be talking about our taxes here and other things, and the hospital, the selling of the senior center over there. That's a shame. It looks like they're trying to sell out our hospital. Okay, the county home is very important to the seniors, I might add, and they're quite concerned about this. It's one great structure we have, and we've had it for generations in Chautauqua County, and they're going to give it away, according to some of the people in the legislature. $15 million, I think they're trying to sell it for. $16 million. They said it's worth a heck of a lot more than that. But at any rate, that's the way things go, and that's life for what it is. Locally, your towns and villages are cranking along, doing fine. And the tourism season is coming down to a close now. I guess Chautauqua closes next week, believe it or not. How this summer has just gone flying by. Chautauqua had some great programs, too. I'm going to take a break for you. I got a public service announcement, and then we'll be hearing from Doc, John Hamels. Here you go. This is for you. I hear Lori. I could tell it's Lori. Who else would give me a click, click, click,
Age
click?
is the color that your skin was meant to be. No
You're looking
longer
gorgeous
beautiful.
as always.
Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and one person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Really?
And we have with us Doc. He shoots from the hip. And he toots too. Here you go, here you go.
Well, that's an introduction.
There you go.
How come you get the illustrious one and I get the little... Good morning, Larry. Welcome back.
Thanks, thank you.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Reed, but we got some new technicians back in the operations part of the studio. We've got Ben and Dave with us, and Jeff went out for coffee, and I think Ben's running the soundboard right now.
Now, who's Ben and Dave? Where did they come from?
Ben and Nate.
Oh, Nate. Nate, I thought it was Dave. Oh, they're 7 and 5 years old, and they're running the show.
Oh, that's easy enough.
We have Lori's sons in the studio, so we're having fun with them back there. Well, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to do a couple quick things here before I do my little triab here. I want to say hello to the folks from Bemis Point United Methodist Senior Citizens. I had a wonderful opportunity to be with them on Wednesday, Reed, over at or Thursday, excuse me, at the Hadley House, and we had a lot of fun, and they were singing with me, and I was telling them stories and talking about my column that I have in Silver Magazine, and of course Senior Report and so forth. So nice group of folks. So if they have news, they should call it in, right?
Sure.
Okay. And then last night, that's why I look a little weary here, Bill and I played out in Randolph for the open-air concert. What a great time. Can you imagine being under a great big old, I think it was maple tree, it was like a 100-year-old tree, and we're singing out in the triangle out there to an open-air crowd, and they were singing and clapping and to our Irish music, so it was just a really fun night. But now, today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's near and dear to my heart. A lot of people know me as a retired school superintendent, but a lot of people don't know that I was a special ed teacher by trade, and I worked with all kinds of disabilities, and even to this day I teach part-time at Jamestown Community College Exceptional Children course on children with disabilities. And the thing is that this kind of after watching the Olympics, Reed, it really kind of came home that it was so cool to see that Oscar Pistorius from South Africa They call him the Blade Runner. I don't know if you saw him at all. But he has had 2 amputations. Both of his legs were amputated, and he's been running on these funny-looking blades, they call them. And I thought about it for a while because they said there was quite a bit of controversy about the fact that he might have an unfair advantage. And I read the story behind it, and they threw him out of the Olympics originally back in Beijing, I guess it was, because they said that wasn't fair. There was springs and all this. And then they went to some kind of a sports court. I didn't know there was court for sports. And they reviewed it and said it was all right. And the whole thing is that why I think it's really kind of interesting and cool is that in life, not all of us come into this world with the same equipment. And how nice it was to see somebody who that had a disability, that they found a way to level the playing field, so to speak, and they could compete with able-bodied folks. And, you know, when all is said and done, this man was really fast. He wasn't the fastest because he didn't win a medal or anything like that, but just to see somebody that could dedicate themselves to an area that was normally outside of their access, an opportunity to be allowed in and to compete. I think he ended up being like the 5th fastest man in the world. I mean, what an accomplishment. So anyways, as a society, we're doing this more and more. We're trying to make it easier and acceptable for folks that don't have necessarily the same skill set that we do or the abilities, whether you're blind or physically disabled, mentally retarded and so forth. We want to be able to give them access and opportunity to all the things that we all enjoy and can participate. So anyways, well done Olympics, and go Oscar, run. Back to you, Reed.
I'd like to add one more thought, and that is one of the people that was most impressed me, it was the Olympic archer who has no arms. He uses his teeth to hold the arrow, and he uses his foot to hold the bow.
So there you go. So given, you know, the desire and the ambition to accomplish and overcome your obstacles and so forth, you can do great things out there. I missed that one, so thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Back to you, Reed.
Okay, here we go. I have some senior news. I'm going to briefly go through this because we have a guest. I want to give her all the time I can. I want to say the Beaver Tail Catering is helping out seniors, especially in the Brockton, Portland area. They give them lunch and have a great lunch. Robin Carr ran the meeting over there this week, and they have a new member. And remember, the guests are very, very important. Hello there, June Willett, coming in from Ohio. Becky Blum from the Office of the Aging did a nice thing and had tickets for that wonderful picnic, and they had a beautiful picnic. What a great time over in Mayville for the annual senior picnic. Oh, that was so much fun. Now, August birthday, I want to say hello to Bonnie Supo over at the Brockton Brockton Portland Seniors. Brad Anderson's site is coming along. They're putting, you know, the guy who did that big dog, Marmaduke. He's from our area, you know. He lived actually a lot of his time lived right in Ripley, and he's also been in Portland. And they're putting up a great big statue and all kinds of things. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but they're collecting money, and it's going right along nicely. If you want to meet these guys at the Brockton Portland Seniors, drop around. August 27th, next meeting, coming right up. The Great Belt Seniors is quite a bunch too. They have they have quite a little group. They have potluck luncheons regularly, and seniors are invited to come along, bring a dish for the buffet table. They're having a Medicare fraud meeting, incidentally, on August 29th. That's very important to know about your Medicare, guys. It looks like they're trying to deconstruct, reconstruct, or do away with Medicare. Ryan particularly had a program that's based on giving you little chits, vouchers to go find your own insurance if you're lucky enough at the age of 80. Sharon Kerr, Board of Directors, I just wanted to say Phyllis Laredo does quite a good job over there, and they have quite a bunch. They're going to keep the post office in Fredonia, incidentally. You can still send them mail to Fredonia. They're putting up a memorial for members who made monetary donations in the past. What a wonderful idea. I'll send them $1. That's not funny. It's nice to support your senior group. They're having a summer picnic at the Beaver Club August 25th, and get your reservations in. Next meeting will be September 4th. The bus trip for Salamanca for August, incidentally, has been sold out for the Share and Care crowd. It's all over. The next trip will probably be September 18th, October 16th, November 13th. And so, yeah, you still have a chance to get over there and see the Indian Museum. Casino, of course. I want to say the Silver Creek crowd has quite a bunch. They have their own little place down on Route 25. And Ed Newman does a job. Get run into him if you want to get involved. He's very happy to introduce you, kind of lead you around and let you know how the program works. They have a great program. They have their own, as I said, their own little place over there. Pizza party, August 21st, being held there at 1 p.m. And the 28th, they will recognize all the birthdays at that meeting. Senior bus trip coming up September 24th to Albion Town Hall. You call in if you're interested. United Seniors, bunch of all the major senior members around here and leaders and anybody else who wants to join. Charles St. George has been doing the honors there for years. He's one of our best known seniors, most involved, and believe me, he is involved. They also have Beaver Tail Catering doing their luncheons. And they had the Beaver Club is quite a place in Fredonia. Happy birthday over there to Diane Briggs, Elizabeth Ferner, and Francis Gatto, among others. Their speaker was the editor of the honored paper, the Observer, which used to be the Dunkirk Evening Observer, then became the Dunkirk Observer, and now I guess they just call it the Observer, and that's John D'Agostino. And it's been around 130 years. Can you believe that? Next luncheon over there at the United Seniors, again at the Fredonia Beaver Club, September 10th, and they're telling me I'm out of sync and I'm out of time. So we will close off here with your public service announcement. Okay, now we've seen the public service announcement. We'll move right on to our guest. We have Lori Cornell with us. Cuddle up here, Lori, so they can get up closer to us with the camera. Lori is the minority leader in the legislature, and the legislature is active with many things right now. I will say this: she has done a venerable job, considering the fact when you're the minority leader, you remember you don't have the hammer, but meaning the majority usually, since they have the votes, they often win. Although I see occasionally they do cross the aisle. I noticed that Andy crossed the aisle for us this week in the New York State Assembly. Okay, Lori, first of all, you live right here. You have a very well-known husband too, right?
Chuck Cornell is my husband, and well known to us at least.
Sure. Well, he's been on this program, so it's a family matter. And you've got a couple of kids here right now running the program, as I understand.
I do. I have Ben and Nate in the control room, so hopefully they're doing a good job for you, Reed. And of course, Zach and Nick are at the doctor's this morning.
That's your whole brood. Four kids.
It is, yeah.
Where do you find time to do the legislature?
Well, you know, it's a busy undertaking, certainly in the Cornell household,
yeah,
right? But as you said, you know, my husband Chuck and I have really made public service an important part of our lives, and you know, something that we try to encourage our boys to take an appreciation in.
Well, you're a relative newcomer. You just came on board to the legislature, right?
Yes,
and
this
of course,
is my third year.
They made you the leader immediately because nobody wanted it.
That's what you always say, Reed. Now.
You were the low person on the totem pole, said, I have to be the minority leader.
I was an eager and available volunteer, and you know, public service has been my passion, it's been my interest for many years now.
You have quite a bit of experience.
Which
is probably why they made you the leader.
Thank you.
Do you have a big horse whip you use, or does somebody do that work for you?
I have a very strong assistant leader. Bob Whitney is a big guy and very powerful. But no, in all seriousness, we work hard to work together. You know, not just in the Democratic caucus, but across the aisle, as you said as well. I think, you know, cooperation is really key to sound lawmaking.
Tell me, what's new in the legislature? since we had you on a month and a half, 2 months ago. Yeah, I really love the fact you give of your time.
Well, thank you.
Saturday morning is a valuable time for somebody who's got 4 kids, a legislator job, and doing all kinds of crazy things.
So, and I brought Ben and Nate with me today because we're off to enjoy Panama Rocks, one of the great sites in Chautauqua County.
My great-great-great-great-grandfather was a founder over there.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Simeon Powers, and he also established that church, which is down as you're going down the hill. And if you go past the school was my great-grandfather's horse farm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Irish Powerses were originally the gypsies.
Yeah.
And they always dealt in horses.
Huh.
And the whole family always had horses around, but he had a horse farm. And if you go past the school, there's a little street called School Street. And that's all his estate, the area. And they kept his old mansion, which is still there. It was totally messed up, but it was renovated by a couple that did a lot of work over there. And one of his grandchildren, Vinnie Powers, liked to ride horses. Vinnie was small, became a jockey, and at the age of 17 was top world jockey in the world.
Oh my gosh.
Top world jockey in the world.
Wow. Well, I hope the boys are paying good attention because we will have to check that out today.
Okay, we have a picture here of the boys doing their work, incidentally, which will come up in a moment. There they are.
I dragged them out of bed, as you can see.
Well, they're right there at the control panel. That's
They're
where
doing
they
a good job.
Okay, so at any rate, yeah, and if you go over to the cemetery, as I pointed out many times, you probably heard me say this, you can always tell who ran the community when it was first set up. Because the first, hey, I can hear everybody's voice yelling out on the on my mic. There we go. And so you just throw little things in as you're talking along. And you go to the cemetery, because that's the first thing they got to do is put up a cemetery. Joe dies, where do you bury him? Oh, you're under 40, that's a cemetery. Put up an arch, and away we go. Sell lots that'll cover it, and immediately start selling lots. And you don't want to be in the back, you want to be in the front.
Right.
So the lots on the right, just inside the gate, go to the top family. The ones on the left, just inside the gate, the second family, and then they start to move back.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to announce, in the gate, on the right, exactly, dozens of Powerses.
Really? Well, we might just have to visit the cemetery today too, boys.
Well, if you go over there, you'll see zillions of Powers, including Simeon Powers, who was a founder over there.
Wow.
He fought off a bear, incidentally. He was attacking some people at one point.
Oh my gosh.
And it was in the paper, but it got lost, sadly. But at any rate, we'll find it again someday. Okay, so we're with Lori Cornell, and just chattering away here about nothing important, but now let's get down to some nitty-gritty here. You found $10 million. Found it. Apparently it was lost, they found it. Okay. We still have a $4 million shortfall, from what I hear, in our budget. Now, what are we going to do about that $4 million?
Sure, and I think that we need to be doing so much more in county government to cut the cost of government and provide greater effectiveness in our government. And I think I've spoken before on this show about how my colleagues and I, in a bipartisan fashion, took the initiative at the start of the year to introduce legislation that would have provided for a Government Effectiveness Commission. I mean, we have multiple layers of government here in Chautauqua County. We have over 500 elected officials, if you can believe it, in Chautauqua County.
Yeah, we have several townships that only have one village.
Exactly. We have 45 total municipal governments, including county government, and all of the highway departments and police departments, and on and on and on that go with that. That overhead, that administrative expense, is expensive. And I think if we are truly to get to the bottom line of taxpayer costs, we need to look at the overall structure of government, and that's really where we're going to start to make a difference in our budgets, in our local budgets, and in the taxes that we're levying to our residents.
Okay, now I notice one of our big problems here is the Lake Chautauqua.
Yes.
What's being done about that? You know, we got God bless our previous Senator McGee. gave us 2 big lawnmowers. They go down there and cut the weed, essentially, but like grass, it goes right back up again.
The harvesters.
And it goes flying away back into the water, half of it, so it winds up on the beach, and it's a stinking mess.
Right.
It's worse than it's ever been, they tell me, this year.
It is.
What's happening?
We've had a record year because, well, due large part to the weather in terms of the poor conditions of the lake, and that's why I sat down with my caucus in April and said, look, we know that this is going to be one of the worst years ever. We also understand, and I think everyone appreciates, the economic and natural asset that our Chautauqua Lake is. Take nothing away from our other 4 lakes in the county. We're very blessed to have 5 wonderful lakes, but when about 25%, give or take a percentage point here or there, of our tax base comes from Chautauqua Lake, we need to pay good attention to the condition of that lake. Or I should say 25% of the tax base comes from the properties immediately surrounding the lake. So we need to pay good attention to that, and that's why, again, I introduced legislation that provided, well, it would have, I had called for providing $100,000 in harvesting money to the CLA, the Chautauqua Lake Association, to bolster up its harvesting operations, the weeding that you were talking about with those great machines, as well as $100,000 for watershed protections. Unfortunately, we were unable to pass the $100,000 for the watershed protections this year. We were successful in including $80,000 to hit the ground this summer with additional harvesting. But I look forward to now, hopefully in the 2013 budget, being able to push in cooperation with the Chautauqua Lake Management Commission, push for that watershed protection funding. And we can spend all day harvesting those weeds every single summer, coming back, harvesting the weeds, but which is important work that we do, but it's like a Band-Aid. That's the immediate need. We need to be looking to the long term of the lake. The long-term health of the lake depends upon the watershed. That's the prevention.
Yeah, we got to find something that eats that weed.
Exactly. Yeah, and we did just approve for it's a submerged aquatic vegetation study, the SAV study, well, and that will allow us to potentially do more than just harvesting. Right now, harvesting is the only tool we have.
Because the only other alternative that I understand they've come up with is poisoning them, and there's a hell of a lot of opposition to dumping toxins into that lake.
Right, those are herbicides that we're swimming in and breathing and drinking.
And they may tell us, like everything else, that's perfectly innocent, it's good for you. It ain't.
Yeah, I think we'll see what the study shows, but I would tend to favor more natural and mechanical methods.
I don't think they will use poisons. I don't think the public will permit it, actually, the environmentalists. And also, we want to thank Young and Kathy Young and Andy Goodell. They cranked up $100,000 out of the state budget.
They were successful in adding to that fund. So at the end of the day, I mean, we were able, I think, to better take care of the lake in terms of the immediate need, the harvesting, but we need to be supporting our Chautauqua Lake Management Commission's watershed recommendations and looking at the big picture.
Yeah, just running around mowing the lawn doesn't stop the dandelions, we'll put it that way.
Right, we have to stop the sediment from coming into the lake to begin with.
Right, and we have another big issue down there. We got that green algae, which kills people.
Oh,
if you swim in it, you die.
Oh, I know. Actually, hopefully the boys are paying good attention back there. I mean, we just went to the Bemis beach the other day, and it's all blocked off. You can still enter the sand area, and so the boys were playing in the sand, and they were joking about jumping into the lake, and I said, oh my God, boys.
They did, boof, they did evaporate.
That is blue-green algae, so we had a very important talk about the dangers of blue-green algae, and it is dangerous.
And there's another animal out there. They're trying to stomp out some kind of another weed. What was that?
Oh, the Oh, the name is escaping me.
Me too. That's
yes,
why I asked you.
Yes, the water chestnut.
Water
Thank you,
chestnut,
cameraman.
right. Thank you.
Cameraman, research consultant.
Well, he's a great guy.
He is, the water chestnut. Yeah, and that's an important part of the long-term plan to address the lake. And the CLMC, the Chautauqua Lake Management Commission, has proposed some excellent controls, I think, in stopping some of that invasive species.
How do they stop it?
They have a few ideas to do
The
it.
only thing I heard is you send people out and say, if you see some, tell us. We'll try to grab them. But
education is an important part. But apparently, other lakes in I think Lake George has a program, and other lakes across New York State actually have people manning the various ports or the various docks across in Chautauqua County, wherever a boat enters the water, you would have actual, ideally volunteer personnel, or if not, some sort of county personnel that would inspect the boats, essentially, is my understanding.
If there's some water, if there's some attached seeds or whatever they have attached to the boat, but it's like a few years ago, to stop that mussel that's all over the place.
Yes, that zebra mussel.
Zebra mussel. Yeah. They said, well, you must, if you change lakes from go Westfield, you must completely wash it down.
Right.
Then you have to use Clorox to kill any eggs and things, whatever. You got to rinse it down thoroughly with Clorox, and then you can put it. Who's going to do that?
I know.
Give me a break. Right across and on there, and of course there's zebra mussels everywhere.
It does sound like a lot of work, but
it's
important
insanity.
to keep.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, important to keep that invasion out of each lake.
It won't work. Just like the zebras, because nobody is going to go through 2 or 3 hours of soaking their boat in chlorine and Clorox
it does sound
and
like
washing.
a lot of work.
It just ain't going to happen. So that's why we have zebra mussels in Lake Chautauqua now, and we will have the water chestnut everywhere in the whole area. I bet before you know it.
Way to stay positive, Reed.
I am positive. I look at reality. It's reality. We have these phony pie in the sky things that are just nonsense. Reality. You'll have them all over the place.
And the reality, Lyle Haidu, who does an excellent job as the head of the CLMC, I think he said it best the other night when he presented to the legislature. He said, we have a high maintenance lake. And
you bet.
Actions like we're suggesting now with bleaching out boats, that is a very, very high maintenance action. So.
And also drying the boat, incidentally. They have to get all the bilge water out of it.
Yeah.
And they have to dry it all out thoroughly. Give me a break.
I know. I'm not aware of all those details, but it's a high maintenance lake and requires high maintenance operations.
Yeah, so. And of course the thing that always stumps me, and nobody seems to be able to answer me, what do they do with all the weeds? I mean, they collect tons, mountains of that weed when they clip it. They don't get they only get about 3/4 of it. There's still a lot that goes offshore and stinks. But in the meantime, what do they do with these mountains of weed?
I've been told, I stay pretty close in touch with the CLA because the lake is such an important issue, and they do such wonderful operations on behalf of the lake as a not-for-profit organization. But I've been told before, I want to say it can be used as a fertilizer. I think it's an excellent fertilizer. I'm not sure. Huh. Maybe we should be selling this stuff.
Maybe they just dump it back in the lake.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No.
I hope not.
Okay,
no.
We got a couple of calls. Want to take a call?
Sure, I'd love to.
Hey, good morning, caller. You're on.
Good morning, Reed, and good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
I have a question regarding the county home that's still a hot topic these days.
Yes,
I was going to introduce that
and I was
later
hoping we'd be talking about it.
One of the saviors of the county home, which is being given away, incidentally. Tell me that the price they're giving it up for is absurd.
Isn't it shameful?
It's
shameful.
Okay, go on there.
Well, I was wondering, I see something about there's a meeting, I think it's the 21st, and is the public allowed to come to that? And what's our recourse? And what's the legislature doing about all this? And what about that big report? I got lots of questions. But I'll hang it up, and I'll just let you go ahead and talk to us about it.
Well, thank you, caller. Send me a stamped envelope. I'll give you some certificates for the Lakeview restaurant. $5 off. Can't beat it. And Lori has some for senior citizens. Okay, you want to answer that?
Sure, I think I can address the caller's question, but feel free to follow up if I don't cover everything. But this Tuesday, I believe that's August 21st, am I
Today being the
correct
18th?
there? I think we're good. But this Tuesday, there is a special legislature meeting that is very much open to the public. I would strongly encourage you to attend, and any residents out there that care about the future of the county home, which I know there are many, do attend.
Where is it?
It's in Mayville. It's in the legislature chambers as usual at 6:30. So this Tuesday, 6:30, legislature chambers of the Jurassic Office Building, 3rd floor in Mayville.
Okay.
Erie Street, North Erie Street, Mayville. And I believe if it's handled as a regular legislature meeting, which I'm understanding it will be, there is always an opportunity for the public to speak at both the start and the close of the meeting. So I'd strongly encourage, especially all of you out there who are in opposition to these really ludicrous proposals to sell, and as Reed was saying, even the amount proposed for a sale price. Please do come and speak to it. Legislators hear you. The public does make a difference. I see it.
Okay, the county has some wonderful assets. Some 20 or 30 years ago, God, it's a long time back, they decided to sell the dump, the county dump, which happens to be, that landfill project is the largest unused landfill space in the eastern United States, and they were going to give it away, same as the home. And finally, the legislature took a closer look at, with the assistance of several active people in the community. Hello, Jay. I want to thank you. They backed off and decided not to sell it. We still have it, and we are now benefiting tremendously from it, even though it's sort of stinky for the houses nearby. I think they ought to buy them up and sell them. The people don't care. I want a nice house. But at any rate, it is a very important asset. And again, the county home is an important asset, and we hate to lose it. Let's take some more calls.
Sure.
Okay.
And I can't let the comment, if you don't mind, go on the landfill without mentioning that I worked for, as you know,
Bill Parment.
Assemblyman Bill Parment for 5 years, and that was one of his early projects.
We can thank Bill Parment.
Yes,
he bought it.
With
he set
the
it up.
landfill. And as I understand, he consolidated all of these little dumps all over the county into, it was early consolidation at its best, and very effective government.
No, thank Bill Parment.
Absolutely.
My cousin, I didn't want
I know.
Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting so patiently.
Good morning.
What's up? What's up?
Well, first off, in this wonderful, almost fallish weather, reminds me of school going to start soon, and of the wonderful golden opportunity our girls and boys in this village have to learn dance.
To learn to dance?
Yes.
Oh, here she goes. She promotes the dance center over there.
Oh,
every time.
Only because of the wonderful pleasure I get out of going to all the occasions when I get to go and watch the children, 2 of whom are my grandchildren, dance. And she does a wonderful job at center stage. And anyways,
I think she's probably one of the people who works at center stage, because she constantly
I
promotes
wish
them.
I wish I could dance, but I can't.
Oh, and dance is a great activity and physical activity for kids. So.
Absolutely.
Where's center stage?
Pardon?
Where is center stage?
It's in Westfield,
Okay.
right on the corner, just next to the dollar store, upstairs over the pizza place.
She's going to give the phone number now.
All right.
I don't exactly know the phone number. I don't call there very often. I just go.
Okay. So what's your question after promoting the dance center?
Well, you got me on a roll there. It's not exactly a question. I was wondering what your guest's opinion was on the what's happening in Pennsylvania, which I find not very good. Doesn't matter what party you're in. I don't think we should be trying to stifle votes in any way, shape, or form, and especially since there's no voter fraud at all in the state, and yet they passed a law making it very difficult for especially older people who don't drive anymore and so forth, that have always voted and have their little voter card, but it's not the one that's going to be able to be used anymore, and they have to now go either and find a birth certificate, but it can't just be a birth certificate. It has to be the one with the raised seal on it. You can't use a copy of your birth certificate. And that's about the only way a senior is going to be able to get their thing. They have to go there, apply for a new birth certificate. Then when that comes, go and apply for the picture.
So they're just trying to stop people from voting, evidently.
Well,
the wrong people, anyway. The seniors.
It will have that effect, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But New York State does not have this law. Do you think there is any possibility that anybody's going to try to pass a law like that in New York State?
Sure. Well, I would certainly hope not. And as a county legislator, we can't affect state law other than to express our opinion. And certainly, if there was ever an effort by the state legislature to pursue something like that, I would jump on an opportunity to offer a motion opposing such a measure.
I would second that real fast.
It does. It seems very crazy.
Yeah.
I would second that real fast. Well, apparently there seems to be an alternative motive because one of the members that is in Congress was congratulating themselves on passing this law and assuring that one of the candidates would now be elected president because this law had been passed and would, in effect, because it's such a short time in order to be able to do this, would in effect swing state towards one candidate or the other.
Yeah.
But anyways, oh dear, I've lost my train of thought again.
Evidently, what they have done is set up a whole different system for how to vote, and you've got to go through it now. In other words, you can't vote this fall without going through a whole new procedure, including documentation and everything, which is totally unnecessary and unheard of, I might add.
Right. Well,
because the cause is non-existent. You can go and look at the laws and the things that have happened in that state, and there has been no voter fraud. So, this is the excuse for passing this law, and yet the excuse, there is no viability for it. But anyways, I am very, very concerned about taking away voter rights in any way, shape, or form. I think that's what makes our country the great country that it is the fact that everybody gets to participate.
Theoretically.
Sure.
Right. Well, it has always been so in my memory, and apparently since women got the right to vote, I guess, and plus they got rid of the Jim Crow laws, so in my voting memory, it's always been so.
Okay.
But I am very, very concerned, and I'm planning to get hold of, there's an organization in Pennsylvania, which is bipartisan, that is trying to make sure that everybody there gets registered to vote.
I hope that the ACLU and everybody in sight clambers all over them, because this is totally unconstitutional, if nothing else.
Well, they've already taken it to a judge, and the judge has already said that...
you can do whatever you want, he says.
He's okayed it, so to speak.
Sure.
So
Sure.
the alternative is try to find a way to help the situation and make sure that everybody gets to vote, which is what I plan to get hold of. I can't remember the number anymore, though, but there's a place in Pennsylvania which is bipartisan that is going to try to get everybody they can to the polls. Look into it, see if you can help. If by nothing else, donate so that they can get these people to the places they need to get there.
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Have a great day, and
you too.
Don't forget to vote. You're on.
I will not.
I was just going to mention, Reed, that you could call our county Board of Elections too and just try to get a status on any movement in New York State to do that. I would hope that there is none, but they would know. You can talk to Norm Green or Brian Abram, our county election commissioners, at 753-4250.
Yeah, repeat that. You want to
753-4250.
Okay. If you have any election problems.
Sure. And, I'll take this opportunity to just mention, too, in Chautauqua County, how fortunate we are. We have a cutting-edge Board of Elections staff in our county. I mean, they've gone, you talk about access to the polls and those type of issues. They have, Brian Abrams and Norm Green, our county election commissioners, have been actually recognized on a statewide level for their ability to implement these new Help America Vote Act and these new voting regulations, our new machines, etc. on so much greater level than our other county counterparts. So they really deserve a lot of credit.
Okay.
Ma'am. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
Sure.
Have a great day. I wanted to mention the fact that I had read your editorial about Rudy Mueller.
Oh, yes.
Tell me about Rudy.
Thank you.
What do you have to say about him?
Oh, Rudy
We've
Mueller.
had him on this show a number of times.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Rudy is just, you say Rudy Mueller, and I smile. I mean, he's the most unique elected official or person in government and public service
Well, he was
that
in the
I've
legislature.
ever worked with.
He was
Yes,
in the
and
legislature.
I had the fortune of working as his assistant minority leader in the last term. So he was minority leader, and I was the assistant leader that 2 years ago. And he's so unique in that he refuses to ever take no for an answer. I mean, he doesn't stop. And he's a doctor on top of it. So the man must work probably about 20 hours a day. I would get emails from him at 3 in the morning. He's just a very, very hard worker. Never quits.
Okay.
Never stops.
We're going to take a break. We'll come
Okay.
back to Rudy.
I have so much to say about Rudy.
We got some callers here. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Reed. How are you?
What's up?
My question, I know most of this goes on at the state level, but I was wondering if the county was giving any insight into this about combining school districts, if they were trying to get the schools to do this, or if this is entirely at the state level.
Both. Trying to combine the school districts.
To get for consolidation of the school. Yes, and we, in county government, we don't have any authority over our school districts, of course. They're a separate governmental entity, but no, certainly I introduced legislation, or a motion, because again, we can't directly control, but I introduced a motion in support of some state legislation. It was actually Senator Young's legislation to encourage regional high schools, and that was about a year ago or so that I did that, but in support of Senator Young's measure. But yeah, certainly I think school districts is an area where we could achieve some of the greatest cost savings and effectiveness measures in government.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, and one last question. Is there any place that we can find, like, how our legislatures vote and stuff? Like, how they vote on a specific bill?
Sure, the county legislature?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way other than combing through all of the minutes. We do post the minutes of, I believe the minutes are posted of the legislature right on the website. Our staff, very hardworking staff that does all those minutes in the county legislature office does that. But I don't think there's a mechanism. That's a really good idea, though. I don't think there's a mechanism other than combing through all of the minutes. Do you know what I'm saying, Reed? And looking under each and every
task.
Right.
But yeah,
I think that's an excellent idea, caller, and I can't control that. That's the call of the chair of the legislature. But I will suggest that to Chairman Gould. We should be posting on at least the major votes, some sort of link on the county website, so that you can easily go, say you want to know how someone votes on the future resolution that's going to come before us on the county home, per se. You want to be able to just click and see county home vote, yes and no's, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Let me see if I can make that happen.
Great
It's
concept.
Chairman Gould's call.
Alrighty, thank you very much.
Send me a stamped envelope. I'll give you some dough.
Will do.
We have $5 to the Lakeview. Can't beat it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it is. You know who the second most important, powerful man, woman, or whatever in New York State government is?
The second most powerful?
Yeah, the governor's obviously.
Shelley Silver.
Close. The Commissioner of Education.
Yeah.
He controls billions and billions in budgetary stuff. Controls the whole state, millions of workers. He is all powerful.
Yeah.
When he speaks, they do it. They have to, you know.
Right.
And he doesn't speak a lot on the question of consolidation, because that's a real thorny one. But he's pushing for it. You can see that.
Sure.
And we were talking about Rudy, and now I noticed in the paper also Rudy had gone to, he's running for the Assembly, we'll put that down too, but we're not campaigning for him. He's equal with Andy Goodell. Now, he had taken the Assembly to task for taking payments, payoffs. What do you think of that?
Well, and that's, you know, I started to talk on and on about Rudy, and that's just because I can't. I mean, there's so much to say. He's such a you know, high integrity, good-hearted public servant, but that's exactly the kind of thing that he doesn't hold back. I mean, he sees something that doesn't look right, that's maybe not quite ethical, and he goes after it, and that's case in point.
And he pushes for a consolidation. He tried to get down in Jamestown, what was it?
He tried to provide for a vote so that the residents of Lakewood and Bust-I could determine whether or not they wanted to consolidate. And so you would have had one government entity instead of the two.
They lambasted him. They didn't like that.
Oh yeah, and it's, you
He
know,
was almost in tears by the time they got through.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of thing that takes courage. And,
yes, it
you know,
does.
Rudy has a lot of courage and doesn't hesitate.
He went right for it. But, you know, everybody's yelling about consolidation, but the time one person does one thing about it, all hell breaks loose.
Right.
Okay, we're with Gloria Cornell talking about things in general in Chautauqua County. And we've talked about the lake, we've talked about some of the candidates for the Assembly. I'm sure that we'll get a call shortly from Andy Goodell saying, I want my equal time. He gets it. You know, he's very good about coming in. He comes in, gives up his Saturdays, and they go after him sometimes. You wouldn't believe it. But at any rate, lots of things going on. Back to the county home. We didn't quite finish that one here. The rumor is, for what I see, the perks and the little ticklers here and there in the paper and the rumor mill, they are giving it away. It's much more valuable than, what are they citing, 15, 16, 18 now? $1 million. You just couldn't possibly put up such a facility.
No.
How does the legislature stand on this? The legislature has to vote. How much majority do you need for this? Just a plurality?
17. No, it needs to be a supermajority.
Supermajority.
So, yeah, so we need 19 votes essentially to stop the sale of the county home.
Do you think they have them? You're pretty much in control. You feel the tempo. What do you? What's the tempo? What do you feel?
Well, you know, I can only speak for myself as an individual legislator. You know, I'm strongly opposed to the sale of the county home, and, you know, we'll vote no on any proposal. But yeah, I think that I definitely have colleagues in the same boat. I feel that a good number of us will be opposing the sale. I think that, you know, can I sit here and say, do we have 9 votes to stop the sale? We may, but I still think there is, you know, much work for the public to do. If, you know, anyone and everyone would be willing to call your legislator, call any legislator who you're not sure where they stand on the county home, and encourage them to vote against the sale. I mean, not only is there the philosophical issue of, you know, do you support a publicly funded home or not, but at this point, legislators really need to be looking very closely at the bids. You know, is the amount proposed a reasonable sale price? You know, and we would argue, as Rita's saying, no. Are these reasonable bidders? Are these companies that are going to uphold the quality of care that we've grown to expect and that the residents of the county home deserve?
Well, you're up against.
We'd argue no.
You're up against some potent stuff, because Greg Edwards seems to be very strong for selling it.
Sure, yeah, the county executive.
He's the county exec. He's the guy in charge.
Right, and it's interesting, and I don't, you know, not to make a political point, but just to make a point of information for your callers, that the county executive, when he ran for re-election in 2009, actually published an article in the newspaper, purchased an ad in the newspaper that said, you know, that he did not favor selling the county home, that he wasn't going to sell the county home. And now, of course, he's very strongly, and you know, he's been the driving force behind the sale.
Well, let's hope there are 9 good people. I'm a senior, and I may need this county home, believe me, and we've had it for generations in Chautauqua County as a wonderful asset. And some people tell us, if you read the papers and listen to the news, that actually we're not losing any money on it to speak of, because we get increased Medicare, Medicaid, we have huge funding, matching funds coming in from the state, so that all in all it's kind of a wash.
Right, and that's what the caller, I apologize to the caller that asked the question about the meeting. I forgot to mention, what's actually happening at the meeting is the Center for Governmental Research, the CGR group that the legislature contracted with to do a report on the status of the county home, and basically make a recommendation as to whether or not we can, we should or should not sell. That report is coming out on Tuesday, so that's the purpose of the meeting, is for us to receive that report and for the public to receive that report.
Okay, well, it's I will concede that it does cost some money. It looks like it's going to be just tossed, basically when we're into an economic situation, we toss the seniors right under the bus. This is one of the examples of it. They change the wonderful improvement in Medicare, on Medicaid on the state level, which is, and EPIC I might add, which was basically wiped out, telling us, of course, the governor, what a wonderful change this is and how great, whenever they steal something away from the seniors, they try to convince the seniors that this is a wonderful improvement. Now, if they cut $3.5 billion out of EPIC, how could it be a wonderful improvement? They're cutting $1.5 trillion or more out of Medicare. Already cut almost $1 trillion out last year, and they're trying to convince the seniors it's a wonderful improvement. Give me a break.
I know.
Okay, now we're kind of winding down there. We're going to shortly be off the air. So I wanted to ask you if there's anything particular that you wanted to bring up that's going on in your life or in the life of Chautauqua County.
Well, thank you, Reed, and thank you again for the opportunity to be here today, and thank you to all of the residents out there in Chautauqua County. I think one thing that we haven't talked about is our congressional race, and
okay, go ahead.
For whatever it's worth, I would like to offer my support for our candidate Nate Shinagawa. He's from Ithaca originally, but I think he's made it abundantly clear in the last 6 to 9 months or so that he's been out here campaigning that he will make Chautauqua County a priority, and he has committed to making Jamestown his headquarters for the congressional district. So that's big news for us. We haven't had Jamestown headquartered as the congressional district since, oh gosh, way back I think to Amo Houghton. So
yeah, where's Andy? Where's his congressional office? It's a Jamestown, isn't it?
Well, of course, right now our congressman is Brian Higgins, and
congressman.
And because
I'm sorry.
and
Brian
we talked
Higgins,
about the assembly race.
We don't exist. Chautauqua County, it doesn't exist.
Well, and Brian Higgins has served us very well, and I'm a big fan of Brian Higgins as well. But that this current district was merged with Buffalo. Now we have the opportunity to have the Southern Tier district back, and for Jamestown, at least I can vouch for under Nate Shinagawa, Chautauqua County will be a priority.
Against, Tom, who's still running right now, but shortly you'll be running.
Oh, thank you. But of course, the races again with Tom Reed and Nate Shinagawa.
Right. Okay, well, Lori, I appreciate you joining us, and thank you. Will you come back soon?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, great, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
In opposing the nursing home sale, our Chautauqua County home, and you can see I'm totally neutral.
Me too. We made that clear, right?
We just got this news. We're out of here.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lori Cornell. I want to thank Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zen,